today I am going to discuss about the HMAC authentication to authenticate web API. So here I have actually three applications. One is ASP.NET Core application, web API application. Another is client application which will send the request to the web API, and another is console application which is actually generate the API key. The API key will be used to prepare the hash-based message authentication code. So how does HMAC works? So basically client sends request to the server. While sending the request to the server, before that client using some properties or attributes generate some hash-based message authentication code and keep that hash-based message authentication code in the authorization header of the request and sends the request. The server then prepare the hash-based message authentication code in the server side with the same property that clients used and prepare the hash-based message authentication code and retrieve the hash-based message authentication code from the authorization header and matches with the hash-based message authentication code that server prepared, and if both matches then the request is valid. So here if you run the application, it will actually generate the API key. So I have used this API, I have already generated API key and used that API key in my client and server application. So in my client is a console application. Here the AppID, it is a random GUID generator which actually specifies the same the desired application is sending the request to the server, and server will actually get use the same AppID so that it ensures the same client application is sending the request. So here in the programs I have injected delegating HMAC delegating handler, and it has a run async, and it is actually sending the request to the base URL in this API with this body. So it is a post request, and if the request is successful it will actually show the result, otherwise show the error. And the HMAC delegating handler, it will actually use the AppID nonce and request timestamp to prepare the request string, and from this request string it using the app key, which is a secret key, using this function the hash-based message authentication code will be prepared and then in the authorization header it will send this actually computed signature in the request. And from the brevity I have just used the AppID nonce and request timestamp the HMAC auth. So you can send HTTP request method, request URI, nonce and other things as well to actually validate the request in the server. And in the server, in the web API, the custom HMAC authentication handler, it will inherit this one in the programs, since it is ASP.NET Core, so it will have a program file, and it will inject the authentication scheme option, custom authentication handler here, and it has some property in the constructor. Basically it will retrieve the authorization header value from the existing authorization header, and HMAC authentication will be in this format in the authorization header. So it will actually verify and split this with the space so that it gets the HMAC and the authorization code, and later it will split the parts of the authorization code. So I have used the 4 things here: app ID, incoming signature, nonce, and timestamps. So 4 things will be in the authorization header with the colon splitted structure, and it will actually generate the in the is valid request. It is passing the app ID, incoming signature, nonce. Incoming signature is the authorization header message authentication code value that it is getting from the client. Here it is preparing the computer signature with the same secret key, API key, and the requesting the same format as it is in the client, and it is matching with the computer signature and the incoming signature. If it gets matched, then the request is valid. Now if I run this application, I have already run this application in here. So I have the base URL, this is the body, this is the order, and if I get the client application, here you see that the client will send this request. So valid API key, this is API key, API secret key, which it will be retrieved from the key value structure. Income, yes, the valid request, and it will show the result like this here. If somehow before sending the request, if I remove one of these attributes here, it will not matched with the value that is actually it is using to prepare the hash-based message authentication code in the server. So for example, a client, if I just remove one, and then if I run this, it will not match because the attribute number is different. So here it is preparing with the 3, so not a valid request, because in the client 2 attributes are being used to prepare the hash-based message authentication code, and in the server it is 3. So the authorization code will not match, and it will throw an unauthorized error. So in the controller I have used this one, so it is a post request. So I hope you understand. In the future I will come up with more technical tutorials. Hopefully you have found this useful. Thank you.